So, since January is over, I'm going to rank all the movies I've watched that came out in January. So let's start with the worst movie I watched, and that was Lift from Netflix. This movie is a heist movie, kind of like the Ocean's movies, but just in bad. I mean, all the characters are completely flat, they have no personality. There's terrible CGI, like in this one scene where there's a airplane flying. It really looks like Flight Simulator. It's terrible. The action's completely full of cuts, and I only really liked Billy Magnussen because he was funny sometimes. Oh, by the way, it's a Kevin Hart movie, but instead of Kevin Hart being funny in this movie, like he normally is, he's trying to be The Rock or something, and it doesn't work. Or at least for me it didn't. Really wasn't a fan. 1.5 out of 5 stars. But then in number 3 we have a significantly better movie, and it's a Netflix documentary called Bitcoin, and it's about a crypto scam. So basically you're following the person who started the crypto scam. I mean, it was interesting enough, but it also had a lot of stuff it didn't really need. And it didn't really go deep in the character, or in this case, the real person, in the question, why does he do this? So overall, a definitely better movie and quite a nice watch. 3 out of 5. And then at number 2, we have The Kitchen. It's a sci-fi movie that plays in London. But the main reason I watch this movie is because the director is Daniel Kaluuya, and you might know him from Get Out and Nope, where he's the main actor. So I was really interested to see how good Daniel Kaluuya is as a director. But first up, there's a lot of interesting characters, great acting as well from Kane Robinson and Jediah Bannerman. I hope I said that right. And it is also wonderfully directed. The plot is pretty standard though. I mean, there's a man that sees something in a boy that he isn't, and then they become friends. What I also don't like is that the ending isn't really, satisfying. It doesn't really give you anything. Anyway, it's still a 3 out of 5. Now let's come to number 1, and that is The Greatest Night in Music, which surprisingly is a documentary. The movie revolves around how the song We Are the World was made. What I liked about this movie is obviously that you could see a lot of famous musicians and how they made their music. What I also really liked is you got to see the process of making a song. Also, there's a nice mix between new footage, which they shot for a documentary, and footage from back then. The only small negatives I have is it's a bit too long. I mean, you could maybe short out 15 minutes or so. For me, it's a 3.5 out of 5. Okay, to check out the best movies coming out in February, click here. Subscribe, and I'll see you next week.